All right, I know we're over full, and that's a nice reflection on Chris. I'm sure it's not me. This is a panel discussion, as you know from the brochure, and it's called the Open Currency System. But basically what we're doing today, we're showing our ideas on how to implement silver back into circulation. And it's only 20 minutes, so I'll try to be brief. I'd probably be given the gift of gab better than any of these guys, and they're all good. Briefly, there's a debate going on what legal tender is. I interviewed Edwin Vieira, which is arguably the best constitutional lawyer that exists on the planet today. Basically, there is no requirement to have a blessing by any state to trade in silver right now. You could walk into a hardware store, and as long as it's a verbal contract and both agree, you could buy a shovel with a silver coin. That's legal. There's nothing wrong with that. Ron Paul, I don't think, understands that. But that's not this discussion. Let's give you some background to think about. One of my main goals in my life is to, well, my mission statement is to teach and empower people to understand the benefits of an honest financial system. Gold and silver are not even in my mission statement, but there's a reason why they're so powerful when I do. Coming back on point, Utah passed a bill about a year ago. Last year I talked about that it's legal on a voluntary basis to trade in any store anywhere on a voluntary basis, both sides, in gold or silver, okay? That prompted a gentleman, Dale Olmstead. Dale, raise your hand please, in the back of the room there, to come up to me right after that speech and start a silver debit card. So Chris is briefed on that, I am as well. We're going to discuss that. This is Chris Strange, Silver Shield, did I get that right? Rob Gray, Open Currency System. So I'm just going to go this direction to explain who you are and what you do, and then we'll start the questions.
Sure. Rob Gray, Executive Director, American Open Currency Standard, also founder of Mulligan Mint, one of the founders of Free Lakota Bank. I've known from day one that helping people protect their wealth by investing, turning dollars into silver, gold, copper is a good idea, but we have to take that one step further. We have to actually get it so people can use those things every day. Stacking it, letting it collect dust is a start, and it's a great start, but we've got to go one step further and actually allow it to become a monetary instrument in the marketplace. And so we've been working for years now to establish the tools and the resources to make that possible. So part of our organization helps Mint create the currency. The other part of our organization helps to get that currency out there into the marketplace by inviting business owners, people that run some sort of service or product business to accept it and actually use silver, once again, as money. So that's open currency in a nutshell.
Chris Duane, I guess I'm best known for the Silver Bullet, Silver Shield. And the one message I wanted to bring to this conference today is that the idea that there's so many people out there that are either fearing the Fed or the banks or anything else out there and worrying about things that we cannot control or hoping for somebody to come save us is what's really holding us back as a movement. I personally met with Ron Paul, great man, helped me inspire, but somehow hoping to work within the system is never going to work. Change always comes from outside the system. And while so many people are really focused on, the manipulation, the price of, all this forces stacked against us, the thing that we all have to remember is that we empower them, okay? We need to divert our focus back to us. So when I put together the Silver Bullet, Silver Shield coin, I put in the saying, a conscious solution to collectivist problems. I'm a firm believer that every answer to any problem out there has to come from the opposite consciousness. And I want to implore all of you to start thinking, because I do believe that we're all going to be very successful in this next paradigm, transferring our wealth to the next paradigm. How are you actively, consciously going to be different in the next paradigm? Because I feel far too often, not silver investors, but let's say some gold investors, I really get the feeling they're just setting themselves up to be the next financial oligarchs. And I think that we have the power within ourselves to really put a different conscious solution out there. And I challenge all of you to stop thinking in terms of dollars and start thinking about how you can be a blessing in the next paradigm when the world is going to need our solutions. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Marchese. I was got interested in Austrian economics and hard money when I was about 19, even though I still look 19. And about about a year and a half ago, I just called David up and begged him for a job, and he gave me a chance. Anyway, we're involved with the gentleman, Dale, which David mentioned earlier. He has successfully created a precious metal-backed debit card, whether it be silver, gold, palladium, platinum, and/or cash. You can have one metal and cash. Instead of getting into the specifics of it, I'll leave that to the question session. So that's about it.
Okay, and I'll just follow up with that. So during the end of my speech, Prophet Dale come see me. I said, really, the only way this is going to really be implemented that makes sense to me. And Rob's system works well. So I don't want to take anything away from them, and this is not a debate. Could be later, but the way I envisioned it, the easiest way is you just put your metal in the depository. This was the idea, like that we had. I won't take credit for it. It's a very simple idea. It's basically going back to honest banking, what we used to have, right? So you deposit your metal in a bank, you get a debit card, and it draws down your metal. Utah was going to implement the idea. It never happened. And Dale and I may take a trip back there, probably with Chris, and talk to them. Anyway, I'm off track. So Dale actually put this into reality. And if you're interested in learning more about it, you can go to my booth anytime after this. Please don't leave now. And there's a brochure there. In fact, you can actually sign up today if you want. But the idea is that when you have a debit card, whether it's funded with fraudulent reserve notes or silver or gold, the taker of it doesn't know any difference, which is how I see it working. Because as long as it's a debit card, Walmart, Safeway, Nordstrom's, it does not matter. You are doing it. The beauty of Dale's card is the simplicity, because you can have a cash side and a metal side. And the metal side doesn't get debited unless the value in dollars is greater than what you purchased at. So in my case, I bought it at 34-ish, and the true price after commissions was like 35. Silver dropped under 30 for a while, as we all know. And so I just funded the account again with cash. So my gasoline, my clothes, and I don't drink, but my dinners, whatever, we're all coming off the card on the cash side. And now I'm back, well, I was, in the positive zone. But I look at it as a solution, because the number one question I get over and over again is, I believe the silver story, I believe the gold story, I really want to come on board, but how do I sell it? I'm worried about selling my silver. I'm worried about selling my gold. And most of you probably know the name James Turek. James is probably one of the biggest names on the gold side. And I do conferences with James all over the world. Last time we were in London together, and he says, you're going to spend it. So this gives you a solution. And we're not recommending you put all your silver in the depository. We're just saying that the spendable part of your portfolio, there's lots of options. I won't go on, but I really like the idea. And I have to, again, commend Dale, because it's an idea I actually tried myself with a partner of mine in Canada to get implemented, and we tried for about 2 years and never got it off the ground, but Dale's done so.
I want to add on top of that, there are several people have tried, including, I believe it is Peter Schiff, and he came out with a gold card, but you can't use it in the U.S. So this is basically the first one that's been successfully implemented.
Can you speak up?
Basically, this is the first one that's been successfully implemented.
So we're going to, if it's okay with you guys, we're just going to go to questions. Okay?
Sure.
Because we're here for that.
That's the juicy part.
Yep.
Okay. I would like to seek a clarification on something.
Sure.
Whenever you go to look at the price of silver each day, I mean, if you go to Kitco, you see a number. You go to Liberty Coin, you see another number. You go to Pete Maloney, you see another number. You can go a half a dozen different places and see a different value for silver.
I'll just stop you, make it quick. So wherever you go on the net, you're seeing a different number at Kitco, you're seeing a different number at Mike Maloney's site, all these different sites have a different number.
What's the real
All
price?
of those guys are market makers, and they're making a market in the metal, and they're taking a penny here, a penny there, 2 cents, 3 cents. They're market makers, that's
Okay.
their price.
Okay.
The price
The price.
is the futures price, in the spot month is the price. So they're always, not always, almost always very close, but they are different, and that's a good observation, and that's the point I want to make. Those are market makers. So it makes a difference for you if you get 2 pennies more or not for your silver or gold, then check the prices, because those guys are making a market in that metal every single day. And if you want to know what the honest-to-God price is, well, it's what you can buy it and sell for is really the price. But you want to know what the spot price is, it's what's on the futures exchange in the spot month. Is that clear?
Yes, now, if you go onto your computer and your internet, what site would you look at to find that?
CME.
CMA?
CME,
CME, okay,
Chicago Mercantile Exchange.
that's right. Okay, good, that's what I needed to know. Thank you very much.
Yes.
If you use a debit card to make a purchase in precious metal, doesn't the IRS consider that a sale that has to go on your tax return?
Dale, can you take that?
Yeah, briefly, the system's set up that it will keep track of your capital gain and loss as you use your metals, whether you have the capital gain or loss, and therefore it's up to you as an individual to report whatever you feel necessary to report to the IRS.
It is, you get a statement with that on there, just like you get all these other statements.
How do you avoid counterfeiting?
Buy from good dealers.
No, I
That's
mean, as far as the cards are concerned.
Oh,
In other words, if we went into a card system, it's a debit card, whatever.
The same thing
Once the scammers of the world, they'll learn about this thing.
This is
they're
the
gonna try to
wonderful
figure
thing.
out how to use this to their advantage.
this is really the crux of all that's going wrong. There's far too much counterparty risk all over the world.
Okay.
And I encourage people to start learning who are the truly honorable people in this business. Dealt with these guys just over this past week. I mean, we drove around Dallas, Texas, armed with $1.5 million worth of silver in the back of a pickup truck, picking it up from an armory where we were outgunned with guys with AR-15s. And we busted a tailgate. I mean, the being with people and knowing people ahead of the time is going to be far more important to know who the good guys are, because there's going to be a lot of Johnny-come-latelys who are going to come onto this market after the fact. You're going to avoid those guys like the plague, because chances are they're going to be desperate or opportunists. And I think the people who have come to this meeting today have gone through a very hard intellectual awakening to get to this point. You don't buy physical silver on a whim. It is a hard process to go through, and that's what I've been focusing on with the Silver Bullet and Silver Shield. I spent 6.5 hours of video putting this together on everything that you need to know. And at the end of the day, it's not about the metal. It's what you're consciously and actively supporting in your life. And that's the whole point of this. In the back of the coin, it says, "In debt and death they trust." Okay? That's how our world is working right now. It's very powerful people who have a centralized system that spread debt and death throughout the world. That's coming to an end. And I hope that each and every one of you start to do the opposite consciousness and start thinking about how you can be a blessing onto these people. Because we can break this cycle. This has been going on for 6,000 years. And I'm telling you right now, the new Hegelian dialectic, the false choice that you're going to be given when this all goes down, all the world's currencies are going to fall apart. And I guarantee they're going to say, oh, gold is the answer. No, gold is not the answer. It's another monopoly currency controlled by the exact same guys that we're doing. Even me, big silver guy, I would never stand for a silver standard currency. The answer, the opposite consciousness, is competition in currency, free market, trading value with men, or women, and exchanging that value. And that's why I really want people to get wrapped around this. And that's why I end this Silver Bullet, Silver Shield series. It's not a matter of, oh, it's undervalued and we're going to make a ton of money. It's what are we actively going to be doing in the next paradigm.
What do you anticipate as regulatory activity with that, something like this? I mean, is that Visa, MasterCard, and all these people, are they regulated by the state that they operate in, or
Actually,
are there federal regulations that govern them?
Well,
Would
I
there
wanted
be
to
any
add on to-
regulatory body governing it?
I wanted to add on to what, to what Chris was saying a moment ago, because as we move into this new era of the privatization of money and banking, it's a new opportunity, but it also creates a new set of risks. Chris, myself, and Gus, our partner, went to DC a few months ago to testify in front of Congress. And right after the testimony, they asked a few questions, and one of those questions was, what about consumer protection? How are you going to be able to protect the consumer with your new silver banking standard, your complementary currencies? And they brought up the FDIC and how great the FDIC is, and how the FDIC is here to provide that safety net for banks that go out of business and steal the customer's money or lose all the customer's money. And what I missed on the opportunity to answer was that you've got an organization like the FDIC, and it protects the deposit, but it doesn't protect the purchasing power of the deposit. So we have a lot of these systems in place now that create that sense of consumer protection.
False sense.
That false sense. But we're going to have those same issues as we get into this new paradigm of money and banking, where you got to know who you're doing business with. You've got to be able to trust them. And there are going to be people out there that are going to take advantage of you, the same way there are right now in the conventional financial system. So,
I mean, even with this coin, I mean, we've gone through a lot of setbacks, PayPal trying to hold $250,000 and the design and all that other stuff, and yet I think people, when we returned, $250,000, people were coming back and saying, hey, thanks for the honesty, guys, let's double that order. And I think that's a way of the market empowering us to provide more value, and it's up to us to maintain that thing. And that's where this is all going to come down to. It's who can you trust ahead of time, who's been putting out the right message, and what are they consciously doing. I mean, if it's something where I don't want to get into these old guys, but
Hey, Rob, can you explain a little bit more about how this silver card works? Let's say you deposit 200-ounce bar at current price of $32, so you get credit for $6,400. If the price goes up to $50, now does that balance fluctuate up to $10,000? And when it goes back down to, let's say, $30,
in the
it go down?
in the new system, the valuation is all based on ounces, and so you always have a set number of ounces on deposit with whatever institution you choose to deal with, whether it's Lakota or Dale's system or whatever it is. So the accounting is always done in ounces. The challenge there is that as the price goes up, it increases, a little bit your purchasing power. When the price goes down, it decreases. And so one of the things we're working to do is get away from accounting in dollars. So store the precious metals in ounces, and let's see prices of goods and services in the marketplace priced in ounces as well. And that way we can shrug off that old accounting system of dollars, which is controlled and manipulated by people we don't know, we don't like, and we don't trust. So we want to see that happen as quickly as possible.
If you have to use cards in this system, what happens to your privacy?
actually, Lakota is actually pretty cool. Like, you can set it up, and they really don't take any information from you whatsoever. Yeah.
And the other system is same as any bank. You're going to want a photo ID, and they're going to want some kind of number.
Yeah, but more importantly, the idea of money and as silver in the new paradigm is that you can do it however you like. It doesn't have to be with a card. It can be in physical ounces that you carry around in your pocket. The challenge with that, as we've learned from day one, is that it's very inconvenient. It's heavy. It's cumbersome. It's hard to make change. But it's pure. It's what eliminates the opportunity for fraud and deceit, and that's what we focused on from day one. 4 or 5 years later, we're looking back and saying, how much change have we affected on the marketplace? Very, very little. How can we speed this up? We need to get the solution implemented. What types of tools and resources can we piggyback on top of now to make it easier and make it this transition to the new type of money happen that much more quickly? And so that's where the card comes in. But it doesn't have to be used. The voluntary exchanges in the marketplace can be done in hundreds of different forms.
I'm going to take this question, and we've got to go, and I apologize. I'm sure we stirred up. I feel the energy in here. So give your booth number, Rob.
We're at booth 18, right next to the mortgage report.
Yeah. So you guys can get over there. I won't be there, unfortunately. I got to film something else. But Dale will be there. And he's got a brochure, 3-fold brochure that explains his system. Rob will be at his table. And this gentleman, go ahead.
How will the banking holidays be affected by your debit card?
Well, that's the beauty of it. Let's say you have an all-silver account, the bank runs start, the banks collapse. As long as you've deposited silver only, you haven't lost anything. Because your silver is segregated in a depository under insured and in a vault.
If the card is transparent debit card so that the merchant doesn't know whether it's a silver account or a cash account, they cut in a bank holiday, they cut the use of any
That's right, but.
cards.
Right.
Will yours be available to be used, or are you going to have to transition
And
until things come back?
I don't ever like selling a fear card. I really don't. I mean, most of the compliments I get is that I'm pretty steady Eddie. I don't go too high, too low. I try to, but I try to be very objective, even though I'm biased toward honest money and always have been since I was 11. But, the one thing that I really feared the most during the 1999 Y2K thing, and still do today, and not the whole time, but just more recently, is the electronic payment system. Because it is fairly fragile, and there's a lot of things that could happen. I didn't say would happen, could happen. Not only from a CME event or some kind of cyber thing or a dirty nuke over the center or the East Coast, If you take out the electronic system, you've taken out the banking system and the brokerage system instantly. And I'm not saying, again, that would happen, but it could happen. So that's, again, a reason why I believe everyone should have some of their net worth in physical hard assets, because that's the money of no counterparty risk, always and everywhere. Nowhere else on the planet can you say gold and silver are money and always have been. The price or the value may fluctuate, it does. So does the currencies. They're down about 98%. So anyway, we're done. I'm sorry, I know we could go on for 2 days on this discussion. I think we have to do this, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.